Welcome to Jim's review of the 2013 Lexus GS350. Today we're going to get a real close-up look at these beautiful models that you see here in front of us, and we're also going to get a chance to drive them as well and see what all the enthusiasts are raving about. So let's get started, shall we? As we get a close-up look at the front-end differences on the two GSs, well, this is the F Sport package, and it's got a much more aggressive posture, a different bumper design without any fog lights built in, and the grille is much different than the sleeker looking technology package, which we're going to look at. Notice the sleek look of the Technology Plus package, which is different from the F Sport we looked at earlier. More sleeker design, still a very aggressive front end, but with a much more luxurious front and the fog lights built into the bumpers. Different design here. The all-new headlight design with the bi-xenon headlights built in and the LED daytime running lights underneath adds to the beauty of the new look on the GS350. Working our way around the side, we got the 19-inch polished wheels with the F Sport badging and the lip spoiler on the trunk, giving it a sportier look from the rear. Just getting a look at the interior, right away you can identify it as the F Sport package with the metallic dash accents, the sport pedals with the rubber inserts, and the different steering wheel that you see as well, a sportier steering wheel with the F Sport badging. The red leather interior also identifies it as one of the F Sport packages because it's the only model that offers that leather interior. The interior comfort has been drastically improved, as have all the ergonomics. Very common in both vehicles, but again, just a very sportier look than you'll find in the luxury version. Moving around the side, we have our 18-inch alloy wheels, which are standard on the GS350. The LFA-inspired mirrors with the signal lights built into them. The door handles, which all four of them have sensors built into them as well for the smart key. The GS trunk in 2013 has been redesigned with a much larger opening, which gives you much easier accessibility and a lot more volume in the trunk as well. We're getting our first look at the interior of the Technology Plus package. Notice the saddle tan interior. We have one of our two color options, which you can also get a black leather interior, and it's got the linear espresso wood. It's got a beautiful new wood that they've added into the vehicle this year. Again, notice all the detail, the stitching throughout the entire vehicle, and the seating on the dash, the center console, even on the shifter and the steering wheel. Lots and lots of detail here. This is the 18-way power adjustable seat we have for the driver and for the passenger as well, and new features like the cushion length adjustment and the butterfly wings on the side for support. The 16-way power adjustable seat that comes only on the Sport. When you get into the luxury packages and the technology packages, they come with the 18-way power adjustment. But notice the stitching, the detail in the stitching all throughout the vehicle, from the armrest to the center console to the seat, even the doors and the dash. So there's just a beautiful design to the vehicle. So we're going to start here just analyzing the menu a little bit here. We have the destination on the far left, the info, the setup, the radio, the media, climate, and the phone screen. Now we're going to go into each of these and we have sub-screens. And you can see in the background the highlighted area where all the different spots that we can get into. We have the address, under destination, points of interest, previous destinations, the address book, emergency, more, which takes us into the next screen, intersection and freeway, map, and coordinates. Our little back button takes us back to the menu. Now in the info screen, we have two options to select from here. The fuel consumption screen, which gives us lots of great detail, and the traffic incidents, from closest to furthest away. The setup screen allows us to do a lot of customization on the vehicle. Once we go into the general setup here, this is an area where it allows us to change the language, the unit of measurements, the color of the buttons, the keyboard layout. There's a lot of different customization that can be done in here. We also have the voice, which allows us to change the voice of the person speaking on the navigation setup. In the navigation customization, we can set preset destinations, build an address book, areas to avoid. We have the vehicle where you can do customization to the door lock settings, the climate settings, the light settings, and other vehicle settings. It takes a little time to get through it all, but quite honestly, this vehicle is so intuitive that it almost knows what you want to do before you do it. So a lot of the stuff, the way they've set it up as a default, works really, really well. The phone settings, where we can pair up our phones, check our messages, our inbox. It pairs all the different messages. We can prevent it from popping up or have it, pop up if we like that. And the pop-up just shows us messages like our text messages we're receiving on our phone or email messages. Bluetooth, we can add a few different devices and register the audio players in it as well, so we can stream our music directly from our phone. Okay, which takes us into other settings like the HD radio settings or the iPod settings when you have the iPod paired. Back to the menu. Now we have our radio screen where we can of course program various stations on AM, FM, satellite, and then we can scroll over to the next screen, which gets us into things like Bluetooth audio, USB, and auxiliary, and that's our media screen. Climate screen. This particular model is the Technology Plus, which gives us 3-zone climate control. So we have 2 zones in the front and 1 that controls the entire rear, and that gives you a little snapshot of it right there. And then the phone screen. Again, the phone allows us to connect multiple phones to the vehicle. Our contacts can be paired seamlessly. It gives us messages once we have it paired. It'll actually read our emails to us while we're driving. Very, very impressive, and that's the pop-ups I was talking about earlier. Of course, we have our map screen, which is a much cleaner picture, and when a phone call comes in, you won't see the map disappear. The phone call will show up on the right side of the screen. Now, on the right side of the screen at the top, we can change what we see. We can have the climate control settings on this side. We can have the fuel consumption screen or a compass showing. So there's a lot of different setups we can have here on the right side and still have the map view on the left side. Now, if I want to push one of the screens over from the far right over to the map screen side, we just hit where the little arrow is there and it pushes it over to this side of the screen now. And then we can go back to the right side and display, say, our music or our climate control again, and you can do a lot of different customization. A simple pushing of the map button brings us back to the map screen here. The driver mode select we're going to put to the test once we get on the road for a drive, but once we crank it to the right, we notice on the screen here we have the Sport S. Shows us a little torque curve adjustment for the increase in torque, and then the Sport Plus mode, which shows us the torque increase plus the tightening of the suspension and the steering wheel. The driver monitor camera, which works in conjunction with the pre-collision system, it can monitor when a driver is falling asleep or when he's not paying attention or focused on the road. It'll actually allow you up to 2 seconds before the collision to apply the brakes and save your life in a dangerous situation. The standard paddle shifters on the 2013 GS positioned on the back side of the steering wheel give you that sense of shifting manually but without a clutch. And it's more of a real-time shift. It's a quick shift as you're shifting up and down with it. The comfort, the luxury, the ergonomics carries right into the back seat area here. You'll notice lots of controls on this Technology Plus package for your climate, the audio system, and the sunshades. For the rear it's power, and for the sides it's manual. Lexus engineers didn't miss a thing. Even on the lower part of the windscreen here, you'll see the lines, which are the defrosters built in to ensure that the wiper blades never stick to the windshield on a cold winter day. The standard 3.5 liter V6 engine, aluminum block with direct and port fuel injection, gives us 306 horsepower and 277 foot-pounds of torque. And it uses a 4-cam, 4 valves per cylinder setup with dual variable valve timing with intelligence. The all-new 2013 Lexus GS350 features a new independent double wishbone suspension in the front and multi-link with coil springs in the rear, which is also independent. The all-wheel drive system on the all-new GS350 features a 70-30 split, 70 to the rear and 30 to the front. However, with the 8-track system, it's able to redistribute the power to the wheel as needed by applying brakes to the vehicle's wheels that are slipping. As we get a look underneath the vehicle, now we have it up on a hoist. You notice underneath the clean look and the clean design and the attention to detail even underneath this vehicle. The aerodynamics, the dual exhaust that flows right to the rear of the vehicle, and the little tail fins underneath the rear bumper area to channel that wind. Now let's put them to the test and see how they drive. This is the Technology Plus package we're driving, which is basically everything Lexus has to offer in this new model. First impressions, unbelievable. This vehicle, just getting into it, my initial impressions when I saw the steering wheel, the leather dash with the stitching embossed in it, it was just an overwhelming interior. This is perhaps the most impressive interior I've ever seen Lexus come out with, and they have paid attention to detail like never before. I looked initially at the screen as I started the vehicle, and I noticed how they had sunk it in nice and deep so that it prevents sun glare. But more than that, this is the world's first 12.3-inch liquid crystal display in high definition for a vehicle. You'll notice the blind spot monitors, how they come on as soon as a vehicle is approaching on my side, and it works for both sides, and it just lights up on the mirror basically telling us there's a vehicle approaching in our blind spot. And I find that to be a very effective safety feature. The analog clock has got LED indicators built into it which illuminate as you approach your vehicle, and just before you even unlock it, you'll see the little analog clock light up, as do the puddle lights outside underneath the mirrors. It almost knows what you want it to do before you even do it. So it's a very intuitive vehicle. The drive mode select button that you have in the center allows you to shift between things like eco mode, regular mode, sport mode, and sport plus mode. Notice how when you're in normal mode or eco mode, you get the blue background, the LED lighting on the cluster here. And when you go into sport mode or sport plus mode, you'll see it bleed in red. And that actually just lets you know by looking at your cluster and the color of it, which mode you're in. Now, what happens as you change between these modes? Well, when you're in eco mode, it tells the vehicle that you're driving in a more eco-friendly manner and it conserves fuel. As you go into normal mode, it allows the vehicle to drive in a more normal type drive, and it also gets you into a bit of more power. As you go into sport mode, it really increases the torque of the engine and allows the vehicle to produce more torque, more power, and gives it a little bit more sportier feel. And then we have the Sport Plus mode, which tightens up the suspension and the steering wheel, which I'm currently in right now. And I'll tell you, once you're into this Sport Plus mode, you really feel a difference. Everything seems to tighten up, including the steering wheel, which I really, really love this steering wheel. Now, because this is a sports luxury vehicle, Lexus engineers didn't just want it to feel sportier, but they wanted it to sound sportier as well. So they created a new feature, a Lexus first. It's called an engine sound generator. And what that does is when you accelerate in a more aggressive fashion, you'll hear the engine sound coming into the cockpit area. And I'll demonstrate that right now. So you're really get a sense that you're in a sporty vehicle. It gives you that beautiful sound generation that is actually pointed towards the driver. Now I've just activated the night view. It's a Lexus first on the GS350, and it allows the vehicle to see in a more zoom version, so objects appear much closer than they are, and it sees beyond the scope of the headlights. It uses infrared technology, and it searches for heat, a heat signature from a body of an animal or a human. And this is an excellent safety feature when you're driving, for example, up north, where there's very limited street lighting. Summing this all up, and the experience we had driving this vehicle, getting to know it, getting close up and personal with it, it is an absolute perfect blend of sportiness and luxury, the best that Lexus has ever come up with in all its years. It's intuitive, it's luxurious, it's responsive, and they've created the line of sportier, the F package in the sportier version, and the luxury version in its technology model. So you can really customize this vehicle to your liking. And I can't think of a better blueprint for the future of Lexus than the 2013 Lexus GS350. Well done, Lexus.